watching The End Zone, sponsored by Lucky Star Casino.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another edition of The End Zone, along with TJ Eckert. I am Colby Daniels as we gear up for the big game this weekend. There's also a lot going on in the sports world, especially on the hardwood. In the NBA, the trade deadline just passed, and obviously everyone around here is wondering, are the Thunder, do they have enough to make a big-time championship run? We had some big matchups in college basketball this week, but TJ, I think most of the sports world has their eyes focused on New Orleans.
I think so, and the big move the Thunder made, by the way, at the trade deadline was getting Chet Holmgren back. That was their transaction they made.
I made the argument that they need a clean injury report more than they needed a deadline
deal. They didn't have to do anything,
Yeah.
so that was a big move. But yeah, everybody's focused on New Orleans. It's crazy. We were talking before. The last time it was there was the lights out game.
That's right.
I completely forgot that the blackout game was the last time they played the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So that's pretty crazy to think about.
It seems like it's in the rotation maybe a little bit more than that long ago. But at this point it was the Harbaugh Bowl, the 49ers and the Ravens, and the lights go out. And some people argued that kind of had an impact on the way the rest of the game was played and maybe killed some momentum or transitioned the momentum. But either way, I think this is a great matchup. It was a great game 2 years ago when the Chiefs played the Eagles. I watched it back earlier this week, and it also had a ton of swings. I mean, the Eagles had the hot start. The Chiefs came back. It's a close game late, and the Chiefs obviously get the late score to clinch this thing. And you're also talking about a three-peat potentially for Kansas City. So I think this is just a really fun matchup.
There's an argument to be made that there shouldn't even be a three-peat discussion right now because Philadelphia, it felt like to me, was the better team in that game. And played like it for the most part. You know, the momentum, you talked about the swings, the shift really happened when Jalen Hurts fumbles, right? And they run it back for a touchdown.
Nick Bolton,
they have
score.
The Eagles have an opportunity to really kind of extend their lead a little bit at that point, and then you kind of let the Chiefs back in, and we've seen it for years now. You can't do that. So it was surprising to see the Eagles kind of falter like that with a lead. They did a great job coming back and still had a chance to win, but thought they were the better team, and then just one or two plays there really were the difference.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Jalen Hurts because he is one of the 7 former Oklahoma Sooners playing in the Super Bowl. I guess 8 if you want to count Grant Calcaterra. I guess technically he is
counts.
SMU because he retired, came back, played at SMU. But if you count Grant Calcaterra as a Sooner, there are 8 Sooners in this game, which is the most of any college represented on Sunday. So that's a pretty cool stat. But Jalen Hurts, we've got some audio, video of what Super Bowl week is like. And Jalen Hurts, we know this from when he was here in Norman, he's a very buttoned-up guy, right? Almost robotic. It's hard to get a smile out of him. So I want to set this first one up with, this is just Jalen Hurts being Jalen Hurts.
How ready are you guys for Super Sunday?
We've just been taking it a day at a time. As everyone else has said, it's a great opportunity. Put a lot of work in to have these moments, and it's something you want to take advantage of.
Right, no smile, robotic. I mean, we take it a day at a time.
Great guy, but we need to get him out of his shell a little bit.
Yeah, get him out of his shell, get him to loosen up a little bit. So I think it's both fun and annoying at times. Super Bowl Media Week. You have you have some really good funny questions, and then you have a bunch of complete nonsense, right? I mean, anybody and everybody shows up to this thing and asks the craziest questions. We actually did get a Jalen Hurts smile this week. Believe it or not, I mean, as much as he is a robot and answers everything with coach speak, we did get a half smile when someone offered Jalen Hurts their demo.
I want to give him my demo tape.
Okay. There you go. I'll see if I find the time. All right.
Half smile. It may not have been a full smile, but we got a half smile from Jalen Hurts.
Was that Guillermo from Jimmy Kimmel?
Guillermo,
okay, all right, okay.
Yes.
That's why he smiled. If it was just a random fan, he would have told him to get out of there. But Guillermo gets a pass. That's funny.
But at least we got a half smile.
He got a half smile. That was good. I like that. That was fun.
I mentioned that Oklahoma was well represented in this game more than any other university, and Hollywood Marquise Brown, now with the Chiefs, was asked about that.
Boomer Sooner, baby. I mean, it shows that we can produce, and that we used to playing, you know, high-level football out there at Oklahoma. So I didn't even know that it was that many of us. So that's a blessing.
It's pretty cool that he made it back because he was looked at as maybe a potential game changer for them when they signed him.
Right.
And then he misses the whole year, but now he's back in the lineup.
I saw somebody doing a Super Bowl sim on like a PS4 or Xbox or whatever, and the game-winning touchdown was caught by Marquise Brown. So, not saying. I don't know, those guys don't know everything, but maybe we'll see if that happens. He could certainly be a guy that could have a big impact in this Super Bowl for sure. Another
guy that had a big impact in the AFC Championship game, although it was only one play, it was the clincher, Samaje Perine. I mean, this guy was a workhorse at Oklahoma, and now he's a third down back that, I mean, generally if he's going to touch the ball, it's through the air. He's a great pass-catching back, which I would have never guessed when he was a Sooner. Agreed. But he was asked, and this is a conversation we've had on the End Zone before, he was asked about who is OU running back one if you look at the history.
4 guys, you, AP, DeMarco Murray, and Marcus Dupree back in OU. Who we starting? Come on. Who we starting? RB1, huh?
Probably Adrian Peterson.
Yeah?
For sure.
Adrian Peterson.
That's a fair answer.
I think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Although he should have corrected the guy asking the question. It's not AP, it's AD.
It's
How does
enough
time pass that I thought everybody had heard that by now?
No, apparently not. People do it on social media all the time. Yes, and it's so annoying, but, you know, it is what it is.
All right, before we take a timeout, one more. Creed Humphrey, the center for the Kansas City Chiefs, the all-pro center for the Chiefs. Well, he snapped the ball to Jalen Hurts back when Hurts was in Norman, and he was asked if they've had any contact before the big game.
You have a history with Hurts from Oklahoma? I mean, I know, you guys overlap, obviously. Did you get a chance to talk to him, text him, anything?
I haven't gotten to yet. You know, I'll probably talk to him after the game or something, but not yet.
For you, Creed. Good for you, right? He's an enemy.
Those are two of the most nonchalant, like, quiet people. They probably don't text anybody but their spouse. And,
that's right.
And that's it. So
that's right.
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
So hopefully he sends a gloating text after the game is over. Or at least I'm hoping that that's the way it plays
See if
out.
that happens.
That is TJ Eckert. I am Colby Daniels. We'll take a timeout. We're looking at college football schedules, which will release this week, next on the End Zone. Welcome back to the End Zone. Earlier this week, Oklahoma State released their 2025 college football schedule. Now, it was announced that they were going to do this via television, and then I don't know what the Big 12 decided to do, but they leaked it on Twitter before it even was announced on their special television program. But either way, I mean, look, everybody was going to find out,
We got it.
One way or another. But we do have the Oklahoma State schedule, so let's take a look at this thing. They kick off, TJ, and I actually appreciate this, on a Thursday night at the end of August against Tennessee Martin before they make their first road trip at Oregon. I don't necessarily love the bye in week number 3.
No.
But then it's Tulsa and Baylor to close out the first month of the schedule.
It's just early. I mean, if it was a week later after the Tulsa game, that would probably help going into league play. But, I mean, you're playing 2 games and then getting a bye. You've basically been off for 6 months or whatever, however long you want to say. You don't really need a bye that early in the season. But that Oregon game's intriguing. Be curious to see what the Ducks look like early in the season, and then obviously with some of the changes they'll probably have personnel-wise.
They're going to be one of the most talented teams in college football again, but you know how much of that is able to come together early in the season. That's kind of the big question with all of college football in this transfer portal era. Heading into the second month of the season at Arizona, Houston at home, homecoming hosting Cincinnati, and at Texas Tech, which Texas Tech was one of the transfer portal winners in terms of spending money.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and we'll show it once we move on to the final graphic. We'll do that in a second. But you see that Cincinnati game there. We've got back-to-back home games there with Houston and Cincinnati. There's a long stretch that we'll see where they're not playing at home.
Yeah.
It's almost a month that they're not going to be in Stillwater. They get back-to-back home games there in October, which is good. A theme that I've noticed too is they got a pretty light conference schedule as far as teams that played well this past season.
Right.
I think 3 of the top 4 teams that were tied for the lead in the Big 12, they're not on the schedule. The only one's Iowa State, and we're about to see it. It's the last game of the year.
And then the final month of the season, they will have their bye on November 8th, but it's at Kansas, Kansas State, at UCF, and wrapping up with Iowa State.
Yeah, so the Cyclones, the only team of the top 4 that's on their schedule, which is nice. Obviously, teams change year to year, but if you're looking at last year, it's a nice, I think, consolation. There's the gap we were talking about. November 15th is that home game against Kansas State. It's basically a month between home games, which is an interesting. You don't see that very often in league play.
It is, I think, a friendly schedule in terms of how good those teams were last year. I do expect Kansas is going to be better than they were last year.
Should be.
I do expect Kansas State, much like Oklahoma State, is probably going to be better than they were last year. Chris Kleiman and Mike Gundy don't make a habit of putting together disappointing seasons. So I do think they had a beneficial conference draw, though. But, man, Oregon week 2 and then that early bye is a really interesting situation. Oklahoma released their schedule, a while back, but we haven't really had an opportunity to take a look at it. So let's look at the Sooner schedule. They open with Illinois State on Saturday, August 30th, and then they're hosting Michigan the same weekend that Oklahoma State is at Oregon.
One of the better non-conference weekends for both OU and OSU on the same weekend that I can remember.
Maybe ever?
I don't know. It's at least in terms of blue blood programs. You don't see that very often. Interesting, your first true road game's at Temple. That won't feel like a true road game other than the fact you're having to fly to Philly. So that's good that they're going to get out on the road, but you won't get a true road game probably until the next the first SEC game, I guess.
That's right. You get to host Jackson Arnold and the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, that's weird.
To kick off SEC play, which will be, I think, a big-time spotlight game just because of the narrative, right? Jackson Arnold coming back to Norman and the way that game finished at Auburn a year ago. That's a fun one. Heading into October, clearly October, the spotlight is the OU Texas game, but at South Carolina and Ole Miss to close out October.
That's your first true road game. That's what I was getting at. Is you're not playing your first true road game, really. Unless Temple just...
Till October 18th.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. The bye falls at a decent time. You get a bye week, then you get kind of a throwaway game with Kent State, then you get Texas. So you get almost 2 or 3 weeks to prepare for your rival, which is an interesting dynamic there as well.
Yeah, it really sets them up great, I think, for that middle portion of the schedule. And then the home stretch, as we've talked about, the schedule's flipped. So, that home stretch obviously gives you some home games against Missouri and LSU, where last year you were on the road for those matchups. But at Tennessee, bye, which I think is a great time to have that bye before you go to Alabama and then Missouri, LSU.
2 really good venues there in November that you're going to get to visit if you're a Sooner fan, if you want. And then, getting to close at home, depending on how the season's gone to that point, is an opportunity to really kind of build momentum with a couple of decent wins as you go potentially into whatever the championships would be, if you are able to play well and be in the conversation for the SEC title game, or if you're in the playoff discussion. I know we're getting way too far ahead of ourselves there, but the schedule's decent.
And I'll just say it again, we said it last year, Tennessee, Alabama, and LSU are big-time brands in college football. All 3 of those brands are on OU schedule just in the month of November, which is the best month of college football.
Yes, exactly. And you get Missouri, which has turned into a decent rivalry. It's been an old one, but I think those 2 fan bases don't like each other, especially on social media. So that's a good November slate right there.
It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's take a time out. Next, it's Moving the Chains. Former Sooner linebacker Jordan Evans, who is also member of the Bengals Super Bowl 50 team, 56 team, joins us to Move the Chains next here on the End Zone. Welcome back to the End Zone, where it's time for Moving the Chains. And joining us this week is somebody that has been on the show before, Jordan Evans, former Sooner linebacker, was a member of the Cincinnati Bengals and their Super Bowl appearance a couple years ago. Jordan, great to have you back. So we're moving the chains here. I've explained this to you before, but it's a simple concept. You start with 1st and 10. We throw questions your way, and we will grade your answers with positive or negative yardage. And the goal here is to pick up a first down, which goes against everything you were coached to do during your playing days at linebacker, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. So 1st and 10, as we get ready for the big game on Sunday, there are a lot of people that are more focused maybe on the entertainment associated with the game than the game itself. So the question for you is, what is your dream national anthem and halftime show performers? If you get to pick, and I'll even let you throw in a couple of collabs.
Ooh, oh.
Okay, that's a good one. So, for the national anthem, Alicia Keys.
Oh, easy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a performer, if I had to choose for this year, I would like to keep it with Lil Wayne, Manny Fresh, people just from that area, Louisiana talent, because it's in New Orleans. I think that would have brought a lot of energy there.
I love it.
People are going to have to be quickly Googling who Manny Fresh is. I think I don't know if the people in Oklahoma.
Juvenile got to be
Juvenile.
there too.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, we know. That was really good.
Yeah, you know, the whole Louisiana projects.
I love that. I'm gonna give him 7 yards because he did a good job.
Ooh, okay,
keeping
there
it
we
local.
go.
Is he mad about 7 yards or happy? I can't tell as a linebacker. That's not a good first down gain, I think, if he's a defender. But
hey, I used to play a little bit of offense back in my day.
There we go.
Offense
Back in high school, yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's go second down. It's the second and short. Curious what if Super Bowl pregame jitters are similar to like a regular game, like your nerves, and if it's different, is there an example from the game that you're like, oh man, I forgot to tie my shoe, or I forgot a piece of equipment? Like, did anything happen pregame that was like, oh man, whoops, that the Super Bowl is just different?
From my experience, now unfortunately I didn't get to play, so I blew my knee out that year, so I was watching my teammates. Everybody was locked in. We treated just like another game.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, if you get those jitters and you treat it like a different game, the outcome's not going to come how you want it. And unfortunately, we lost. The Rams just kind of came on top. But when it comes to pregame jitters, there's just an extra sense of it. But the way we portray it, you would think it's just like any other game.
Makes sense.
All right, I like that. Let's go 1 yard gain, and we're setting up for a third and short. So this is definitely gettable, especially with 2 downs, right? Because we're not going to punt the ball after third down.
I'm about to knock it out. We don't like going to fourth down.
That's right. All right, so the week of the Super Bowl, crazy things happen. The media availability is crazy. I'm curious to hear what is the craziest thing that you've heard happen to maybe a former teammate or something the week of the Super Bowl, because there's lots of crazy stories out there just about the wildness that is the week of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to snitch on nobody, but some guys definitely enjoyed LA was missing curfew.
Okay.
And so the rookie got caught. Now, luckily he was on IR, but the rookie got caught, and I think he got a hefty fine.
Oh.
Okay.
Now the statute of limitations is probably up, so you maybe just do like initials or something. Maybe that'll get you like a first down or something. We're gonna leave it at that.
Let's just say he goes to our rival college.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll do the math. I'm gonna give him a first down just for
first
revealing
down. All right.
For revealing a little info. You get the first down. Okay, now you can pick.
Hey, at least I snitched on a rival. You know?
Yeah, you did. There you go.
All
right, you can pick up a touchdown here, Jordan, if you want, because Colby's gonna grade you. You got like a go-to Super Bowl snack, like a food, like if you're gonna be eating or going to a party, like what's the go-to?
Oh, it's mandatory to get you some buffalo wings and some pizza.
Oh.
Maybe some
Staples.
maybe some Rotel dip and some pigs in a blanket.
He keeps going.
And then I'm a chocolate chip cookie guy at the end of the game.
Okay. All right.
I mean, he had me with wings.
And then he just really...
But he secured it with everything that followed the wings. So let's punch it in the end zone. Touchdown. Jordan Evans here on Moving the Chains. Jordan, always good to catch up with you. Let's do it again soon.
Appreciate you, Jordan.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
That is Jordan Evans joining us as he punched one in for 6 here in this edition of Moving the Chains. That's TJ Eckert. I'm Colby Daniels. Our big game pick next here on the End Zone. All right, TJ, wrapping up this edition of the End Zone. The NFL season wraps up on Sunday. Chiefs, Eagles. Chiefs going for the three-peat. It's their, I guess, 5th Super Bowl appearance in the last 6 years, which is crazy to think about. It would be their 4th Super Bowl win overall. Eagles obviously are a tremendous team on a tremendous run, but this is going to be a fun game. Yeah. Keys to the game before we make the pick?
I mean, it comes to Saquon Barkley. If the Chiefs can stop him, I do think they have a better opportunity of doing so than their previous opponents. But guy's been tough all season. We'll see what happens.
All right, let's look at the matchup. It's Chiefs, Eagles. What's the official selection for TJ Eckert?
I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Chiefs. There just feels like, I said it at the beginning of the postseason, there's some mojo, some juju, I don't know what you want to call it, that's dangled over them right now. It feels like they can't lose. I just feel like they're the team of destiny almost in a way. So I'll take Kansas City. I'm banking on a close game, though. I don't think either team blows each other out.
I agree with that. I think it is going to be a close game. I've said on the show before, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I will never pick the Eagles.
That's fair.
But just genuinely, I think this is going to be a close matchup, and I have a hard time picking against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs if the game is close, right?
Right.
All they do is find ways to win games, especially in close matchups and especially down the stretch of a game. Final 2 minutes, that's when Mahomes is at his best. So hopefully it's an iconic Super Bowl, and a Chiefs three-peat would be pretty wild to think about. All right, that's TJ Eckert. I'm Colby Daniels. Everybody, enjoy the weekend, and we're back next week.